What's up, guys? My name is Rafi Gold, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite long stock, which is called Iovance Biotherapeutics, and why I like this stock so much. Okay, so first let's talk about their stock and what they are. They're currently trading at $9.39 a share, and they have a market cap of around $3 billion with 300 million shares float. They basically created a revolutionary new cancer treatment where you actually take T cells, which are cells that basically will touch a cancer cell and they'll poke a hole in it and make it blow up. So what they do is you have these cells already naturally infiltrating the tumor. There's just very few of them, and the tumor's so big that those few cells that are already in the tumor can't really have much of an effect. So what you do with Iova is you take a little piece out of that tumor. There are already naturally T cells in there that can destroy the tumor. They take those individual powerful cells out and they replicate them billions and billions and billions of times until they have billions of cells. And then they take all those cells, they freeze it, they ship it back to the patient who had cancer, and then they inject those T cells back into the tumor and give that tumor a bunch of immune boosting shots. And then hopefully those immune cells will go on to kill or at least make the tumor smaller so that the patient can live longer. So let's talk about their approved treatments. Recently, this February, they got their first cell treatment for cancer. Actually, the first cell treatment for cancer ever got approved, which is called Omtigavi, also known as Lufacil. And it's a treatment for advanced melanoma. There are around 10,000 new cases of metastatic or advanced melanoma in the U.S. per year. 3 to 5% will qualify for TIL, which is the name of the immune cell treatment. And basically, you only qualify for Omtigavi if you've been on chemotherapy and you've been on all the other stuff and it's not working and your tumor's still getting better. So their target market is basically these people that have late stage 4 cancer that are on the verge of death, and it's giving them a couple more and possibly a small chance of reversing their cancer. So because they're the only approved treatment for advanced melanoma, there's no other specified approved treatment. There's chemotherapy, but eventually that stops working and they die. So the people that have stopped responding to chemotherapy, there's no other treatment right now. So I'm assuming that they can capture up to 70% of the advanced melanoma market because they're the only treatment for that. So assuming they can get 3,000 to 5,000 people with advanced melanoma per year, and then each shot, it's extremely expensive. They can charge whatever they want, but it's the insurance companies paying for this, not the individual people. Not anyone could afford this shot probably. So it costs $550,000 per shot, and with 3,000 to 5,000 people getting the shot per year, I'm estimating that it can make around $1 to $8 billion max revenue from melanoma in the U.S. per year alone. And then once they get it approved in the EU, it would double this because they also have around 10,000 new cases of metastatic melanoma per year. Then their other approved treatment is an immune support treatment. You basically inject it into the area where you already put the T cells, and it makes them even stronger. And it's used 6 times per Omtigavi infusion, and it can also be used for other cancers such as advanced kidney cancer, and could be used for more types of cancer in the future. It costs $3,000 to $7,000 per shot of Proleukin, and Iova bought it from Clinigen for $210 million in 2023. It's harder to estimate the max revenue from Proleukin because it can be used in other cancers, and there's not really an exact amount that we can know, but I'm assuming, based on the fact that it's going to be used 6 times per Omtigavi shot in the future, it could be making around $200 million a year. So here's the survival rates for Omtigavi. 1 year survival rate 54, and then as you can see it decreases. So these people are still probably going to die even after they get Omtigavi. But what you have to remember is that these are late stage 4 cancer patients, so they are literally on the verge of death. I'm guessing most of them without Omtigavi probably would have died in the first year. They're not responding to chemotherapy. This is like a last ditch effort kind of thing. So they have a couple ongoing trials. They have their lung trial, which is basically using the Amtagavi method, but with lung cancer instead of melanoma, non-small cell lung cancer. And so far, with the TIL treatment alone, they're getting about a 26 objective response rate, which is kind of low, but you have to remember it's also for people that are no longer responding to anything else. And then there's also another trial going on where they're using it in conjunction with Keytruda, and that one has extremely promising results. It has something like a 46% complete response rate when used in conjunction to Keytruda. So that could end up being another huge moneymaker for them. Here's some of the results. You can see their complete response rate in their trial so far. They have one complete response rate out of, I think, around 42 people, 5 partial responses. These people didn't grow, and these people, their tumors did grow. So, again, a lot of the people had tumors that would grow, but these are people that are on the verge of death. And then, I don't have the results for Keytruda here, but it's around 46% complete response rate, so that looks promising. So their Lung 202 trials, 130,000 people die of non-small cell lung cancer every year, so it's way higher than the 8,000 that die of metastatic melanoma every year. And they will probably be able to capture a much smaller share of that market due to there being various other treatments such as Keytruda. So let's estimate that they can capture 5% of the total people that are dying from non-small cell lung cancer every year. So that would be around 6,500 patients. Multiply that by the 515,000 per shot, and you're looking at around $3.35 billion per year from their lung treatment. And then again, if they get approval in the EU, it would double the revenue because they also have about 130,000 dying of non-small cell lung cancer every year. So my personal Iova target share price, if we combine the target revenues from the 3 drugs, Lufacil, Amtagavi, and the new drug that's currently going through their clinical trials, the LEN 202, in the US and Europe, we get a max revenue estimate of somewhere around $10 billion a year, assuming they can reach a 70% profit margin, which is Iova's goal. This translates to an estimated amount of revenue before taxes and other stuff of around $7 billion, and assuming a 6 times price to earnings ratio, which is the average for a biotech company, this would equate to a market cap of $42 billion and a share price of $140, which is way higher than the $9-10 it is right now. And then in the short term, this company could be very appealing for a company like Merck or Pfizer to buy it out, just buy the whole company outright, in which case they'd have to pay a super big premium. So I'm assuming they'd have to pay around $34 to $42 per share, or around $12 billion in cash to just buy the company outright and take it private. So another reason to be bullish on the stock is you can see recently in the last year or so, it's been all buying from institutions and basically no selling. This is where they got their Amtagavi approved. So as soon as they got Amtagavi approved, it's been huge buying and basically no selling. So hedge funds are very bullish on the stock. Then analysts have set a target price of the stock in 1 year of about $23. I would go ahead and ignore this one low by Piper Sandler. They're currently getting sued by the SEC for stock manipulation, so they're not a very trustworthy source. But H.C. Wainwright has a target price of 32. That would basically be a triple from where it is right now. I think it could honestly go up even more in the next year if they can beat the amount of infusions they're getting. Okay, key risks of the short term. At the money dilution of the stock. So basically, when you're a small biotech company and you're not making any money, you have 2 ways to get money. You can either take a loan out of the bank and with interest rates as high as they are right now, pay huge amounts back in the future, or you can just sell shares that didn't exist yet and dilute your stock so everyone else's shares become less valuable. It's very hurtful to current shareholders, but it's basically the only way they have to make money. They do currently have around $460 million on their balance sheet, which seems like it should be enough until they become cash positive. So they shouldn't need to dilute their stock anymore, but in the short term, it's still kind of a risk. Then in the general market sell-off, we're currently trying to enter Jerome Powell's fantastic soft landing. We're still not totally sure if a soft landing is possible, but it's looking, based on the last jobs report, it's seeming like it's somewhat plausible. But if we did see a recession / general market sell-off, it would probably tank Iova's share price in the short term. But honestly, that would just be a big buying opportunity in my opinion. And then manufacturing scaling. So although over 200 people have signed up to get a shot for Amtagavi, only 57 people have gotten infused, which means that there could be manufacturing risks where they're not able to get all the T cells out of the tumor fast enough before these people are dying, or it's taking too long to get them back to the patients. And they're really working hard to try to fix these manufacturing issues, and they hope to have 70 active treatment centers up by the end of the year. I'm assuming each of these active treatment centers can probably treat one person a month, so each of them can probably treat 12 people a year. Then we got the long-term risks. We got new cancer drugs and treatments being more effective. So although there don't seem to be any late-stage clinical trials for advanced melanoma, there are many ongoing trials for non-small cell lung cancer, which could prove to be more effective than cell therapy / Iova. Notable examples include SMMT's Summit Therapeutics, their new drug called Iovance, which seems to be possibly better than Keytruda, but that's based on Chinese data. So we're not totally sure if this is going to be a good drug, but if it is better than Keytruda, this could be a huge moneymaker. I might actually talk more about Summit Therapeutics in the future. And then long-term profitability. Although Iova has a target margin of 70%, which is extremely high. I mean, it makes sense if they're making $500,000 per shot. It probably doesn't cost them barely any of that to make the shot. There's no way of actually knowing what they can achieve for the next few years. Who knows, in 5 years they could be making the revenue that they're talking about but still not be profitable. So that's somewhat of a risk. Conclusion. Iovance Biotherapeutics stands out as a company with groundbreaking treatment and a promising outlook. Presently, its stock is remarkably undervalued, attracting significant interest from large hedge funds which are actively accumulating shares. Even if their lung drug doesn't receive approval, Iovance retains a monopoly in the advanced melanoma market, which alone justifies a valuation at least 4 times its current stock price. Although there are risks involved, I believe that Iova presents a compelling long-term investment opportunity. So yeah, that's why I think that Iova is a good buy right now. Thank you for listening.